In this video, we are going to be talking about endgame.
In the grand theater of chess, every game moves towards a singular destination, the endgame. It is here, beyond the flurry of openings and the fireworks of the middle game, that true mastery reveals itself. The board is quieter, the pieces are fewer, and yet every move carries weight, sharpened by consequence and stripped of distraction. This is the stage where precision matters more than bravado, where calculation meets intuition, and where the player is most exposed, not only in strategy, but in soul. The endgame begins when the complexity of the battle resolves into clarity. There are fewer forces in play, yet the tension is more profound. It is a paradox, simplicity revealing deeper layer of complexity. Where early stages allow for flexibility, the endgame demands exactness. Each move must serve a purpose. Each choice is permanent. There is little room for error and every weakness is magnified. Like life itself in its later stages, the endgame asks, have you positioned yourself well? Have your early sacrifices paid off? And what will you do with what remains? The endgame is the reality check. The chessboard is nearly empty now. The roar of the opening has faded. The drama of the middle game resolved. This is the endgame, a realm unlike any other in chess, a place of ultimate truth, where simplicity meets depth and every move is weighed with final consequence. In the beginning, the board is a battlefield crowded with possibilities. In the middle, it is a theater of complexity, tactics, and calculation. But in the end, the board becomes a mirror. It reflects the clarity or the chaos within the mind of the player. The psychology of the endgame is not about dominance. It's about survival, not about brilliance, but understanding. At this stage, power takes a new meaning. The queen, once regal and sweeping, her authority may be gone. The rooks, once thunderous, may stand alone or in silence. The king, who hid behind ramparts for much of the game, now begins to walk, slowly, deliberately, into danger, into opportunity, into history. This is where the final battle is fought, not with brute force, but with nuance. The endgame teaches us the value of precision, of economy, of knowing exactly what matters and what does not. There is no room for flamboyance now. Every move must serve a purpose. Each square must be respected. In the psychology of the endgame, time changes too. It no longer flows like a river. It pulses like a heartbeat. The clock becomes a second opponent, and with each tick, pressure mounts, not just on the board, but in the mind. The endgame is crucible for composure. Mistakes are more costly and corrections rarer. There is no cavalry coming, no reinforcements. What remains must be enough. In the opening and middle game, the king is sheltered, passive, a piece to be protected. But now, it steps forward, no longer hiding. It leads, it fights. This is one of chess' most profound transformations. The most vulnerable piece becomes the most powerful, not through strength, but through presence. In this way, the endgame reminds us, leadership is not about position. It's about timing, courage, and taking responsibility when it matters most. The lone king, once the symbol of vulnerability, becomes an active participant, no longer passive, no longer protected. The endgame transforms the king into a warrior. It must match, it must lead, it must confront, and in that match, there is a powerful metaphor for leadership, for facing the inevitable, for stepping forward when all others have fallen. Even more compelling is the pawn, the humble, silent, steadfast pawn. In the endgame, it becomes the story, no longer hidden behind a wall of pieces. The pawn now represents the greatest hope. Each push forward is a declaration. I will not remain what I was. Each advance is a test of resolve, a promise of transformation. But the journey of the pawn is treacherous. It requires timing, protection, and patience. Move too quickly and it is lost. Move too slowly and opportunity slips away. The psychology of the endgame is the psychology of the pawn's final ascent. It is about knowing when to wait and when to act, when to sacrifice and when to seize. There are no certainties in the endgame, no guaranteed wins. Every decision comes with a risk. Even with perfect play, a draw is always looming. The end game teaches humility. It teaches us that sometimes the best thing we can do is survive, and in that survival, there is honor. In many ways, the end game is a metaphor for life's final chapters. Youth and complexity give way to simplicity and depth. We must make do with what remains. Relationships become more meaningful, time becomes more precious, every decision more permanent. We see things more clearly. There is no room for waste. There is no longer the abundance of youth, no armies of option, but there is wisdom, experience, and clarity. You begin to value what truly matters: the position of your king, the strength of your pawns, the cooperation of your remaining pieces. It is no longer about the flashy moves, it's about harmony, timing, and resilience. And just like in life, the smallest assets, an advanced pawn, an active king, can decide the outcome, proving that greatness often lies not in abundance, but in efficiency and vision. In the end game, we confront ourselves, our fears, our regrets, our resilience. Can we still find beauty in the smallest detail? Can we still make meaning of the minimal tools? Can we see opportunity where others see emptiness? Some of the greatest games in history are remembered not for flashy openings or brilliant mid-game tactics, but for how they ended. A single pawn queening, a distant king racing to defend, a clever stalemate in the face of certain defeat. These moments endure because they reveal the soul of the player. The end game asks, when all the noise is gone, who are you really? Do you panic under pressure, or you find focus in the storm? Do you chase ghosts, or trust your calculation? Do you despair, or dig deeper? The psychology of the end game is not about being the strongest. It's about being the calmest, the most aware, and the most honest. To study the end game is to study clarity. It is not just a technical discipline, but a spiritual one. It teaches the value of patience, of planning, of foresight. It asks us to think not in combinations, but in consequences, not in power, but in purpose. And most of all, it reminds us the game is not over until it is over. As long as there is one pawn, one square, 1 second, there is still something to play for, something to fight for. The psychology of the end game is the psychology of presence, of total engagement, because nothing can be taken back. Every move counts. So as the board grows quiet and the pieces grow few, don't look away. Lean in, because this moment of stillness, of simplicity, of truth, this is where everything is decided. In chess, as in life, the end is not merely an ending, it is a revelation, and those who master it, master themselves. In the end, the chessboard is not just a field of combat, it is a mirror. And the end game is its quiet truth, a truth that tells us we will all face moments when only a few options remain, when every step matters, when simplicity is strength, and when the king must finally walk into the storm, not to be protected, but to lead.